Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. I had no clue that it was Wednesday until like 2 seconds ago when my daughter texted me to say goodnight and said, oh, she was just at an exam. And she was like, oh, it's only Wednesday. All this day I thought it was Tuesday. And I'll explain why. But before I do all that, I'm going to say, hey. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Krishan Wright, the founder of Blaxit Global, the host of the Blaxit Global podcast. If you are of the African diaspora and you're looking to move abroad, hey, this is the place. This is where I be. And now I be in Lisbon, Portugal. So it's good to see y'all here. We've got some of our YouTube members in the house. Located Cozy. Hey, girl, hey. Hope you're coming back soon. We got to hang out in April. And first one here was Winnie B was in the house. And so thank you, Winnie B, for the well wishes. And Anita, oh yes, I will be getting into the 30 days, which is why y'all are here. It's 10:30 for me in Portugal p.m. So it is 5:30 for y'all on the East Coast. So I'm already up past my bedtime, but I'll explain why that really doesn't matter anymore. Hey Greta, hey, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Venus, oh, thank you. Y'all, it's been a long time coming, okay? It's been Jametta is in the house. How are you? Hey. Oh my goodness. Hey, I hear y'all saying hi to one another. EE is in the house. Warm Seas. San Fran. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Vicky's here. Hey. So I'm also testing out this whole like me going live and being more consistent, right? So y'all let me know how y'all feel about Wednesdays or Thursdays. I'm thinking that I can make that happen on a weekly basis. So if y'all drop it in the comments, that would be really helpful. I don't want to make this decision in a vacuum. Not saying 5:30, but I don't know. We'll see. Hey, Karen's in the house. Audrey. Hey. All right, Alicia. Boa noite. Yes, it is. Boa noite for me. Hola. Hola. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Yes, and I have been speaking Portuguese every day, which I'll go into. Thank you for the congratulations. Lydia, hey, how you doing? Oh my gosh. Y'all, I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe people won't be tuning in, 30-day mark, but y'all seem interested. Hey, KJ around the world. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, stay in class, get the replay. But for that, those of y'all that are here live, stay with me, keep me up. Nubia, thank you for the well wishes. Hey, another YouTube channel member. Hey, Sharon. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yes, I'm glad you caught me live. Francis B, how you be? Hey. Oh my goodness, y'all are, y'all warming my heart. Y'all are warming my heart. This is so cool. Deanna, oh my gosh, Shanghai. Wow. So we're what, 12 hours apart? Wow, thanks for tuning in. Double T in a place to be. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Yes, Our Black Utopia is live every other Thursday. Yes, we've already talked about that too. So it's like, hey, I'm thinking about like what day of the week, and so it's funny that you mentioned that because Our Black Utopia and I are collaborating for the move to Portugal and hope that you have your ticket in hand since all y'all are tuning in to find out about my life here in Portugal these last 30 days and now day 31. So I will drop the link right there for you. If you haven't gotten your ticket, we are less than a month away. I'm going to talk about that tonight so that you can hear our speaker lineup and all the good things for those of you who are curious. Oh, thank you, BJM. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm getting settled in, as y'all can see. Like I still have to, I may have had the monitor a little too high, trying to figure out my office. I don't have a lot of furniture, so there's still an echo, but I have a desk and a chair. I put the chair together, but I'll explain about the desk and the other things soon. Pearl, hey, yes, Picky Girl does do Wednesday. Just Wednesday at 8, if I'm not mistaken. So I was thinking more like Wednesday or Thursday at 5:30 or 6, or 6 if I do Thursday. Yes, 6 if I do Thursday, because I know Our Black Utopia is 5:30 and they do a short, or they do a 5. I think it's 5, and they do a short at 5:30. I think that's how I landed on 5:30. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I know, let me tell you, this past month feels like it's been several. In the best way possible. Hey, J.Y. Hardy. Hey, hey, hey. Yes, it has been 30 days. We here. Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, Orletta. Yes, Bailey is sleeping, Berta. And let's keep her there. Vicky G got her ticket, so be like Vicky. Be like Vicky. Buy a ticket to the summit. You're going to be very, very happy. Yay! Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I wanted to get on here and talk about the first 30 days and what has happened. So I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible for a couple reasons. One, because it's 10:37 for me. But yeah, so the first 30 days. So shout out to my friends, oh my goodness, in Jersey, and they know who they are. That got me to the finish line, two in particular, and their family, and would not have been able to get like literally to the plane had it not been for them coming in, filling the gap. For some of you who know, so I put the podcast in hiatus in the spring. My daughter graduated and moved her onto campus. But in July, I left my apartment in New Jersey. And so it was moving myself to Florida and then bopping around for like, the better part of like 7, 8 weeks until actually more than that. It was like 10 weeks until I got here. Part of that was in a hotel, and some of you seen my live from there. So definitely there were some very special people in my life that filled the space and let me crash, and Bailey, right? So you can imagine how challenging that is with one person, but then also a dog. Got to spend some quality time with my mom, which was awesome. And then there were challenges. And we have several members, so including myself and our respective families, 13 people that moved abroad this year. So if I got the count right, 12 to Portugal and 1 to Thailand, and the year's not done. So we still have a couple more that are in the final stages. And so it was like shepherding Blaxit Global Passport, doing all the things. And what I tell people in the group, we have a monthly accountability group as well as workshops and a men's group. But I lead the accountability groups. And I said, the closer you get to goal, the more you'll be tested. And so that rang true for me. So I hired a mover to take my belongings from Jersey to Florida, and then I shipped several items from New Jersey to Portugal. And some of that is my equipment, my podcast equipment, which I'm not going to touch because I don't want it to collapse potentially. But my mic is here now, so already talking to guests and lining up dates for season 6. So just be sure I kept my word. I'm going to keep my word. Season 6 is coming in January. Going to start recording end of next month. And so I hired a moving company who I thought were moving companies, but on the day of, a different company showed up. I had to be out of my apartment and they wanted more money. So there was a lot of things going on. And long story short with that was that they delivered my belongings to Florida, but then the next day I was supposed to fly back to New Jersey. And I didn't realize it at first because it was like a whole lot of stuff going on, that one of the boxes were missing. And then when I came back a week later, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't see the one, it was the only one like it with a yellow top, a tote. And I took a picture, thank goodness, in the whole commotion with me being on the phone, talking to people, all the stuff. And so they located it, but then they were like, oh, we're going to send a driver to bring it back to you. And it had my laptop in it and some pots and pans for my mom. And a couple weeks by that time I was here. And then they sent me a picture. They have it. Okay, they're going to send it UPS. And now I get a message that UPS, delivered it. And a friend of mine pulled it up and was like, oh, yeah, it's at your mom's house. I'm like, that's kind of weird because she would have said something. Can you show me the picture so I can tell her to go to the door? And they show the picture, and that is not my mother's house. not even close. Doesn't look like it. Person's not wearing a UPS uniform. And so my stuff is still MIA. So I have the bulk of my possessions that are in Florida, but that one did not make it. So still dealing with that foolishness. But on the right side, everything that I shipped to Portugal, which was 3,500 miles away on a different continent, made it all in one piece. Make that make sense. So that was like part of the whole drama. But fast forward to Portugal, I was checking in, and then I upgraded my ticket. It was like where you could bid, and I upgraded my ticket to first class. And let me tell you, I was gonna say, I had never flown first class, but that's not true because like a week before, I had upgraded a ticket to first class for the first time because I had used points. And so it was only like a little bit more money. So I was like, oh, okay. And it had the lay flat bed. And I was like, ooh. So I get on my flight and it's a solo seat with like a cube, right? My flight to Portugal. Amazing. And it calmed all my nerves. And the reason why my nerves were all worked up was because I had to leave poor little Bailey, who was crying down. She had to fly in cargo. And she was giving me all the sad puppy faces, all the. I stood there for like 40 minutes. I didn't want to leave her by herself. It was just, But I got on that plane, and once they served me the shrimp and the champagne, I was like, she's okay. She's okay. So I had a first class ticket, enjoyed all the luxury of that, got to Portugal, and then, Bailey had to get cleared and everything. And while I was waiting for her, there was another family who had a dog in cargo. So thankfully she wasn't alone. And the woman struck up a conversation with me. And long story short, after the dogs got all checked out, checked up and checked out, I had my luggage and then I had her big crate. She was traveling with her husband And she's Portuguese, lived in Jersey, I think, and was traveling. And she was kind enough to like push all my luggage for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It was like, this is a net. She was like, welcome to Portugal. And as soon as I went through the doors, our friends at Portugal the Police was there and, got everything in the car, whisked us away to my beautiful apartment that I'm in right now. So finally, after 4 months of paying, I walked in. Everything was awesome. I had my solo piece of furniture, which was my sofa bed that I slept on up until last Thursday, I think it was. So for 3 weeks, Bailey and I have been on that thing, but it's comfortable. I definitely got through it. But yeah, I had a great welcome gift, and if y'all have seen my arrival video, you know about that. And then it was like the whole process. I had some things lined up. So, what was one of the first things it did? So yes, they installed the cable, the internet, and let me tell you, I have high-speed internet, 20 gigs on my phone, and oh, I got the new iPhone while I was in America. And I got 20 gigs, high-speed internet, 170 channels. I don't really watch TV, and a landline. And my bill is supposed to be 57 a month for all of that. So I already got my first bill and I paid it the other day. It was for €1.30. I was like, oh, okay. Hey, Patricia became a member. Y'all should be like, Patricia, gonna be a YouTube channel member. Thank you for joining. And so, yeah, so I got all of that installed. And then here's the kicker with that. 2 days later, I think it was. Yeah, it was 2 days later. They delivered a 32-inch TV for free. So I pay like almost nothing because for my Verizon service, which I'm still paying, and I was on the phone with them yesterday, because when I upgraded my phone, they decided that it was in their best interest to charge me an activation fee for a line that I've had for over a decade, $35 for that. So my next bill is going to be ridiculously high. Meanwhile, when I switched my phone, my carrier in Portugal was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just saying, we're getting ripped off. Um, so then I got my hair done. I think it was like that day. I took Bailey to the vet. She has her pet passport, so she's all official. She can travel within the EU. I'm like, oh, you're like a citizen already, Bailey, on like day 2. But yet, it's going to be 5 years before I can apply. But yeah, she's living her best life. First 2 days we kind of stayed in, and I wanted to get her settled and acclimated. But then it was like, okay, hair salon, got my hair did by these Brazilian men, and they did a wonderful job. Let's see what else. I have my list because I did not want to forget anything. I was like, I did a lot in 3 days. Let's see. I went, got the cable installed, got the TV delivered. She got groomed. Shout out to our amazing groomer who picked her up and kept her for the day because I was having some ride share woes that even though they had picked us up for 2 days, all of a sudden when I actually needed to go to her grooming appointment, no one would give us a ride. I think it was because it was kind of raining that day and they didn't want like wet dog, which I can respect. But not when I literally needed to go to that appointment. So her groomer rescheduled and was able to help me out big time. So shout out to her. Met one of my Instagram followers for brunch, hung out, and went to Rum and Tickles. So if y'all ain't following Rum and Tickles on Instagram, you must do so. Rum and Tickles happens in Setúbal, Portugal. It is Jamaican food. We were up in there dancing, eating some good food. And for those of you who are in Portugal, that is also where I am hosting a private dinner to welcome. It's called a Freedom Dinner for all of our members and their families that just moved here. So we are going to have an awesome time next Saturday. So it's going to be rum and tickles, rum and tickles. And let me tell you, the rum will be flowing and just tickling my fancy. I'm just saying. And I'm so excited because when I went that night, I ran into our guest, one of our guests for season 6, who has an amazing story. And I can't wait. He's going to be the opening. I'm already giving away that it's a he, but he's going to open the season. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Let's see. And oh yes, we went to the outdoor movie and a rooftop bar. Me and some of our passport members who moved here, and we saw Flashdance, which the movie didn't age well, but we had an awesome time. Lots of laughs. Hung out with my Portuguese friend Emily, and we went to the underground. We went to the underground Chinese food, clandestine kind of setup where they have these, I guess when they migrated here, they were like cooking out of their homes, and there were these restaurants that came about, and the food was amazing. We had drinks, and we had sweet and sour tofu, sweet and sour chicken, big thing of noodles, big thing of rice. I feel like there was one other thing, and it came to 30 euros. It was like 5 big plates. And then, of course, it was too much for 2 people to eat. And so I took it home the next day and had enough for another meal and a half. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, and I tell people in the group, we do our accountability, we do our cost of living breakdowns, budgets, inflation projections, but scouting and living, well, obviously being a tourist is different. When you're a tourist, you're going to spend like a tourist. When you're scouting, you still kind of spend like a tourist, right? Because you're in accommodations and things like that. When you're living, completely different. And so it's been favorable, much to my happiness that, my cost of living, especially now that I'm like kind of getting more settled. I'm not running to the store like every 5 minutes, multiple times a day. Things are like leveling off. I have most of the things. It's good. So now I have a bed. I have sofa, 2 sofas actually, my desk, my chair. I've learned to outsource. So I was getting ready to get back to the desk conversation. So the desk and the bed frame, I did not lift a finger except for to go on TaskRabbit and pick a guy to come and assemble. I'm like, I'm not doing anything anymore. The days are over. Okay. When I left America, I surrendered my lifetime bus pass on the struggle bus. That's it. So homeboy came, speaks English. He's awesome. I've already recommended him to Shar. And she used him as well. He's like my go-to. He's come over and puts things together for me. I still have a dining table to purchase and a stand for the free TV. So he will be doing that as well. And so I decided to at least put the chair together. So that was the one thing that I did. But everything else, mm-mm. I've had a housekeeper come twice. I haven't had a housekeeper in like 5.5, 6 years. She was just here yesterday, day before yesterday, something like that. So that is a twice a month so far, twice a month thing. Um, so that has been fantastic. And, you know, it's amazing. I've done an interview, I'm looking at my notes. I've done an interview with Women's Wealth Effect, um, and some podcast guests. So you'll remember Julianne from season one, who lives in Italy. She left from New Jersey with her family to Italy at the height of the pandemic. And we've kept in contact. She's been on this channel. And so she was traveling to New Jersey for the first time in 3 years since she left, and had a layover in Lisbon. So we were able to hang out. She came over at like 5 in the morning because I didn't have any furniture. So unfortunately I couldn't host her. But I was like, hey, you come shower and clean up. And so she did. And then Shar came over and we all hung out. And that was fun. She was my very first official, like, kind of house guest. But Nicole was my official first guest. She came to bring my stuff. I've been talking a lot. So let me go into the comments for a little bit and then I'll get back to, because now we're still not even on my second week in the story. So let me take a pause there. And that was only week 1.5, y'all. Yes, yes, I have an unfurnished apartment. So all I ordered one piece of furniture because I needed something to sleep on. But everything else, like I had to, once I got settled in that day, I went to the store and I bought a pot and a pan and some plates. I came with silverware, but that was it. I still don't have bowls. Tonight I made mashed potatoes and realized that I meant to get a potato peeler, but I didn't. So I had mashed potatoes with skins. No, Tanisha, I have not. I did hear, yes, and we will be talking about it at the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. And so that NHR, I have not applied because I have not had my SEP appointment. So I have to have that appointment, my immigration appointment first before I can apply. But I am going to do that because if you haven't heard, the non-habitual residency program in Portugal, which had some tax favorability for foreigners, is ending per the Prime Minister. No official date other than 2024. But yes, a lot of people are concerned. And that's why I say, like, sometimes not to digress, but sometimes we can get in our own way and keep moving the yardstick. So we'll say, oh, you know what? I need another year. I need another this. I need another that. I'm guilty of it myself. I almost pushed it out a little bit to save more money. But guess what? If I had done that, I would have rules change all the time, right? Countries don't make it easier for people to get in, right? They make it harder. But if I had pushed it to 2024, guess what? I would have missed out on 10-year tax favorability. So, and that's just one example, right? With Portugal, it can happen, and it does happen with a lot of countries, including the US, right? So I definitely encourage people, stop moving the yardstick. You have to try and get and I'm not the greatest with analogies, but try to get the boat as close as you can to the dock, right? At some point, you're gonna have to jump. At some point, you're gonna have to jump. So, oops, this is not what I want to do. Hang on. I was trying to put this up. Okay, Renee, thank you. Thank you. Yes, TaskRabbit is a beautiful thing. I mean, he is amazing, really nice guy. Yes, I caught part of Cinnamon's replay. Haven't finished listening to it, but yes, she was talking about um, that. And the NHR is not for just retirees. It's actually for Portuguese citizens as well, as long as you were not hadn't applied for it before. But the country is ending it. Stay a few months. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So Tendai agreed. Yes, next few months or next year. You got to stop moving the yardstick, right? Because our brain wants to default to, well, our brain wants to protect us, right? And that's where fear comes from. And I'll be talking about that in my talk at Exodus Summit this weekend. So I hope y'all got your tickets for that too. This Exodus Summit is starting on Friday, today. And I will be giving a talk on Sunday on scouting. And I'm going to put the link for Exodus Summit here. So if you don't have your ticket, you're a Black woman and you are interested in taking a career break, career sabbatical, move abroad, this is the summit you want to be at. And it's a phenomenal lineup this year. Myself is a speaker. Tabitha Brown, yes, that Tabitha Brown is a speaker. And some of our faves that you've seen on the channel, like Libria Jones, she's going to be there as well. Sheeta and Stephanie. It's going to be an amazing lineup. So definitely get your ticket. I would love to see y'all and hear more about, talk more about scouting. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's any more questions. If you could help me out, you could put a Q before your question, and that'll help me find it that faster. All right, so I'm going back to my timeline. So we talked about Julianne. Okay, then came all of us who actually want to be in me that night. So I've been having dinners with some of our members because, like I said, it's so wonderful having so many of us here. So first couple of days we were doing all these type of things together because we all kind of moved within, with the exception of Alicia, who moved earlier in the year. The rest of us moved within 3 weeks of each other. So we were going to the store together, dinners, lunches, you name it. And that's why I say community is so important. You have to be around like-minded people. I will say, and I'm sure that they will attest, the accountability groups is what got everyone to the finish line, right? Because we are talking about challenges, whether it be with family, work, getting into the country, resources, right? We've had Sandra Gomes Pinto, who is also sponsoring the Move to Portugal Summit. So shout out to our amazing sponsors like SGP and Associates. We also have Serenity Care as a summit sponsor and Lighthouse Consulting. So they have been amazing, supportive to put this whole thing together. That is what has helped, is having community when people need support. Maybe it's someone to just listen to and vent, or a resource. Hey, who can I contact to look at my lease, or a purchase agreement for a house, right? So it's been great to have us together because, like I said, Alicia came earlier in the spring. So, when I had issues with getting my bed, for example, and I'm toggling. So hopefully when I toggle, you still have me. But I had an issue. I bought this great bed, this mattress, and they don't have like box springs here. They have these beds that have storage underneath. You get like a base, and then you have a mattress. And so I had purchased a mattress and the base. And then the lady contacted me the next day and was like, oh, I made a mistake and I ordered the wrong base. Or I put in on your receipt the wrong base. But then when I got back home, because I wasn't home at the time, and so my receipt, and it was right, because she said, oh, it was going to be €100 more. And I'm like, no, it's right on my receipt. So if you're telling me that the bed that I already paid for and the base is now €100 more, you can keep the base. I'll keep the mattress. So then I need to find a base for the mattress that I ordered. And it was Alicia who said, oh, you know what? I remembered when I was here in the spring scouting and went to her flat that she had gotten one from IKEA. And I ordered it and everything was easy peasy, right? And I got a Welton tasker to put it together for me. But again, just being able to go to people and say, hey, where do you go? Like today, I got my eyebrows done, right? Where do you go to get your eyebrows done? Like you have support and you have community because it helps you get to the right answer faster, which is also why we're doing the summit. Because you can listen to me, you can listen to our Black Utopia, you can listen to our Rich Journey and several others, right? And we have people who will be at the summit who are living here to give that perspective. But we also have immigration attorneys, tax professionals, both in the United States and in Portugal, right? We have lawyers that are going to be talking about setting up a business in Portugal. We're going to be talking about real estate, right? So we're going to have experts in the field as well as anecdotal from people who live here to give that perspective because things change on a dime. And so when you look at, the purchase of a ticket, it's your best chance at getting to the right answer faster so that you don't waste more money spinning your wheels, taking a little bit of free from here and a free from there, and then, missing a step, right? Because there's just so much that we can talk about in a public forum, right? In a time allotted. But when you have a multi-day summit, you can really get into the nitty-gritty. So I also always say, like, whether it's going to the summit or joining Blaxit Global Passport, the investment is in you. It's not in me, right? I'm here. I'm already here, and I've been producing this content. It's really to help you get the lift under your wings so that you can take flight. Because all of us want to see you win, regardless of who you listen to. We all want us in the winner's circle. That's the beauty of it. So looking at, let's see, somebody asked something. Winnie agreed, yes. And I'm so glad that you're not making excuses anymore. Yeah. See? It's like you just gotta take flight. Just gotta take flight. Cosette, thank you. If you're attending the Exodus Summit, there's a little treat. I'm not going to give it away. Because I'm still working on my talk for Sunday. Have I dined? Have I dined with Felicia and Rick? We were out, was it Friday? Yes, it was Friday. We went live with Shar and on Instagram. Shar is Expat Chats on Instagram and also the founder of Expat app. So if you're not already in the Expat app, get on it. So we were out. First, it started as a late lunch. And then 6 hours later, we were still out in these streets. And I'm like, we have to be live in less than an hour. We're eating tacos and drinking. So yes, I have been spending time with them. Plus, we talk every day now, with the summit for sure. Um, yes, 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 yes. Oh yeah, them Karens and Kens, and let me tell you, I've been keeping up with what the shenanigans going on in America. Kevin McCarthy. I'll leave that right there. Um, have I adjusted? Yes. Oh, that's another thing I do. I sleep. I sleep all the days. Okay, I sleep. I have had bouts for past couple of years. I've had sporadic bouts of insomnia, sleep apnea prior to leaving. Still have to deal with that. Um, but let me tell you, especially now that I got my bed, whew, I sleep. But I sleep for like 8 hours. I sleep when I get up, I take the dog out, I come back in, and we both go to sleep again. And then midday, I'm taking another siesta. I sleep. I am so rested. Mm, mm, mm. It's a beautiful thing. And what also helps is in Europe, they have these like shutters, these like blackout curtains that actually they were here today fixing a couple of mine were off track because of my apartment. I have automated ones and they were off track the other day. So, but when they're all down, it's pitch black. So dark that the dog the other night, I was in the living room and she was in my room and she was crying because she couldn't see how to get back. So I had to go and get her um, and carry her. But oof, I get some good sleep. So yes, I've adjusted to the time zone difference. Um, let's see, thoughts and advice on living long term in multiple countries. Ooh, that was my original plan. That really was prior to getting the dog. I mean, we can bop around the EU now that she has her pet passport, but um, yeah, yeah, I am a fan of slow travel. Bopping around multiple countries? Absolutely. Yes. I'm actually potentially going to Amsterdam with one of our members. We were talking about it the other night because I've been out these streets, but I'm jumping the timeline, so I'm gonna try and get back on track with the timeline because I haven't even gotten to the um, flight. So went to a concert and then I was off. So that gets us to week 3, right? Week 2.5, week 3. I flew back to America. Yeah, y'all. I flew back to the US for my daughter's 18th birthday. So I flew back to the States and whew, again being tested because the flight was delayed. Um, it was crazy. And then because it was so delayed, by the time I landed and got the rental car, um, I was in rush hour. But what also happened was I had reserved a Toyota, like what's that? Is that a mid-size sedan? And when I gave them my paperwork, they were like, "Oh, you got a big SUV," and I'm like, "Did I?" But I made the reservation so far in advance. I'm like, "Okay, maybe I did," because we had planned, her birthday weekend for months. And they gave me this gigantic, I called it a bus. It was a Nissan Armada. The thing is a tank. And for me, I hadn't driven in almost a month at that point. And because all I do is either get in ride shares, walk, or take public transportation. Um, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't driven in over a month. And I haven't driven a car that big in 15 years since I had a Land Rover. But anyway, tons of traffic. I didn't get to her until it was dark out, which I wasn't thrilled. But when I got there, she gave me the biggest hug. Mm-mm-mm. So she's settling into college life so well. It was awesome. Then we drove into Manhattan and had an awesome time. You probably can see, right? Yeah, there you go. I got tatted. Freedom. Got some new ink. So my daughter wanted a tattoo for her birthday. I got a tattoo as well. She got her nose pierced. Um, it was just amazing. And then her best friend came into the city and from high school, and we all went out to dinner. So we just had an amazing time. And then I was on a plane back home to Portugal. I was in and out. Am I close to the airport? I can walk to the airport if I really wanted to. How are my neighbors? My neighbors are great. My neighbors, I've met a few. There's a gentleman on the first floor. He's great because I realized I didn't have a key for the trash. I was like, okay, I have this garbage, where I put it. And then he let me know, and that's how I found out I had a key that was missing. And so he's from the UK, I believe, and his wife is Portuguese. And then today I saw another person, but I haven't seen anybody on my floor, which is funny. I've been here over a month. I've not seen anybody on my floor, just me. But yeah, everybody's been great. I outside of the gentleman on the first floor, as far as I know, we're the only foreigners, and I am the only American, but not the only black person. But where I live is not touristy at all. So I have to speak Portuguese. Like when I walk out that door, I gotta be ready because going to the store, like there's no English option. Getting money out of ATMs here. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I have had to quickly learn and expand my vocabulary. So shout out to Portuguese Carla because I've been getting on my Portuguese. And even though, I'm still obviously learning, what I have learned has been really, really helpful. So for those of you who are interested in signing up, Portuguese with Carla is great. Carla is Angolan in Portuguese. So I find it to be helpful because I can understand the way she pronounces words. And then it just helps me like retain it. And I have an air conditioner, which is funny that you asked about the air conditioner and the heat because I have air conditioners in every room. And I think it also does heat. I don't know. I think it does. I have to look at the remote. Every room has like a remote. I have remotes for all of it because I looked at so many places and I needed air conditioning. One, because climate change. Hello. Which is hard to find in Europe, air conditioning. Remodels, they put them in, but older places, not so much. And because I have a dog, sometimes I'm out, for a couple hours and I'll turn the air conditioner on before I leave so she's comfortable. So I didn't want to risk that. So yes, I do have air conditioning, but it's been in the last week was in the 90s here. This week it's been in the 80s. I was gonna go to the beach tomorrow, but I don't think the beach is gonna work. So we're gonna probably do like a rooftop situation because rooftop bars are aplenty here. Let's see. In order to get the NHR, you have to be a resident. Yes. If you move to Portugal from the US, your taxes continue to go to the US. Depends. Depends on, well, yes, you pay taxes to the US, but you don't pay taxes on everything, and some income gets excluded. I'm not a tax professional. But if you're inside Black's Global Passport, which some of our members are on this live, they already know that there is a workshop from a tax professional that answers that question. So, but we will be talking about that specifically at the Move to Portugal Summit by tax professionals, not us. You don't want tax advice from me or Rick or Halisi. No, you don't want that. Yes, I am in a new building with a new elevator in a brand new apartment that no one's ever lived in with brand new appliances, which is another thing in Europe. You can get a place, but it doesn't mean you're gonna have appliances. Sometimes you get a place and you have to buy all the appliances. So I was fortunate; I didn't have to worry about that, and I have a parking spot. No, she did not fly back with me, Vicky. Uh, like I said, I've been tested. As much as I'm in my honeymoon stage, and I will admit that, there's been some tests for sure. So I had a sitter lined up for Bailey maybe 2 months before I got here because I knew I was flying back. My goal was to get here, get her here, get as much of the place situated before I needed to fly back. So getting all the pots and pans and plates. And literally, I was going to the store multiple times a day because I would need something. And I'm like, oh, I don't own that yet. And then have to run to the store. And then someone told me to check in with the person, and they let me know that they couldn't because they had a housing situation change. And then I had to be on the scramble to try and find someone I was comfortable enough to leave her with. Fortunately, one of the vets that work at the veterinary clinic, her husband watches animals. And so that is how I was able to leave my sweet Bailey. And they're going to be watching her again during summit weekend so that you can have my full attention on summit weekend. But yes, I left her here. She did well on the plane, but she didn't eat and she didn't pee, so I think she was like one and done. Oh, you heard me on Picky Girls. Yes, yes. Adelia got me fresh off the boat. I think I was on day 8. No, I wasn't even on day 8 because I got here on the 3rd. Yeah, yesterday made my 30 days, which is why we're doing the live today. So I recorded that with her on the 8th. Yeah, so I was, 5 days in. 5 days in. So she got me fresh. Jet lagged probably a little less, but at my most raw, I would say. So for those of you who haven't heard that, definitely tune in. Thank you, David. I appreciate the congrats. I'm settling in quite well. I am in Lisboa. See, am Lisboa. Let's see what else. Yes, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure, David, if they did both. I thought they did, but it's like I said, since it's been so daggone hot here, which I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying it. Although, I'm like, I need to shop. But one of the great things about being here at this time of year and shopping is I'm getting all of the clearance deals. So it's been unseasonably warm, and so that's another thing. I barely brought any clothes. I got rid of most of everything because I've been home for 4 years, and so I kind of wear the same stuff. And so I was like, I need to buy some clothes. So I went to the store and I was buying these clothes. I'm still finding my style here, but they were so reasonable. It's like, oh my gosh, I could shop every day if I wanted to. I hate shopping, but if I wanted to. Oh, speaking of shopping, the mall here is Vasco da Gama Mall. I thought that was like the only mall. And then one of my members told me, no, Colombo Mall. So I went over there, which isn't that far away. It was as if there were like 4 Vasco da Gama malls inside of this mall. It was a monster. It was so big. I was like, oh, I'll be in and out in like an hour, hour and a half. I was in there 3 hours. And I don't even think I got through halfway through that mall. I had to get a map because it was so daggone big. But oh my gosh, they have everything you can think of in that mall. It was so nice, but I gotta be like in the right frame of mind, well rested, maybe a couple cups of coffee before I go back in there. Shine bright, hey, shine bright like a diamond. How many visits did I make before deciding? 1. It was my trip from April of last year. I was here for 10 days, 9 days, something like that. And I think I was on maybe day 2, day 3, somewhere around there. And I was like, I think we gonna stay. Because if it didn't work out with Portugal, the next was gonna be Italy, because I had my first scouting trip post deciding that I wasn't moving to New Zealand, because I did 2 scouting trips to New Zealand, and that was supposed to be the plan. And so then when I had to develop a new plan, Costa Rica was first. That didn't go well, aka Costa Rica, and then Portugal was second. And I think it was on day 2 or day 3, I felt as close as I could to the feeling that I feel when I'm in New Zealand. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. So I came in April 2022. I came again April of this year. And then I actually physically moved 31 days ago. 31 days ago. Yes, I don't drink the tap water. I buy water, but the water is really good because I washed my hair, which is by its back, because it takes forever to dry, and it's excuse me, it's finally dry. Yesterday it was still wet. Um, so I washed my hair and I was like, oh my gosh, my hair feels so soft. And I used the same stuff. And I was like, I think the water here is not as hard as it was in New Jersey. Because my hair is like so soft now. Do I have a T2? No, I have a 3 in a bathtub. Yeah, reasonable because I'm just outside of the city. So that's another thing. It's like when you think about costs and trade-offs, I recommend, particularly for those of you who are looking at Portugal, what I did is I went and stayed in the places that I was considering neighborhoods in Airbnbs in all of the different variations, with the exception of 3. I'd stayed in a T0, which is a studio, T1, which is a 1-bedroom, and T2 in various parts of Portugal. And then styles, I stayed in traditional Portuguese home, and also more modern to see what felt good for me. So I recommend that because if you just fix yourself on price, here's the deal. Inflation is inflating. I've been sharing on my stories. If you follow me on Instagram, Portugal, well, Lisbon in particular, is one of the most, or no, it's actually the most expensive city now in Europe. So it's not to say don't move. It's to say you want to do your homework. You want to find out where are the places that have reasonable accommodations. And one of the ways you can do that is getting your ticket to that Move to Portugal virtual summit because we will have Colleen from Portugal the Place give you the low because she's literally out here every day helping people find their place, right? So hopefully that helps. Yes, I watched, what did I watch one night? Oh, The Mask. I've only had the TV on twice so far, maybe three times. No, twice. I watched The Mask with Jim Carrey, and that was fun. And but yeah, I watch when I do have the TV on the two times. I watch Portugal news so that I can get used to like the ticker, which I have because Portuguese with Carla. What I like about it is that the scenarios are what you'll likely encounter. It's not like a Duolingo with like the dog ate the red frog. So there is one that like goes into an actual news program. So I was able to kind of remember some of that. That helps. And I watched like a sporting event. I do want to go to a sporting event though. When we were out the other night, I was like, I need to go to the stadium. That's not something I used to do, but that's something I do now. What I'm about to do. Um, yes, she can travel on a train. But I'm just trying to get her in a ride share. I don't know what's going on. I may try it again. Mocha Mosaic said, Colombo is massive. I was not ready. I did not know. Yeah, good range. I had to do the conversion from US size to what is it, EU size. Um, and then mentally get over the hurt feelings like, why is that number so high? Because you go from like a 10, 12 to like a 55. No, I'm just kidding. It was a high number. I was like, what? But yeah, it's very reasonable. So I'm looking forward to having a new wardrobe. Yes, the malls are beautiful and clean, Tunisia. For me, Karen, jet lag, I have this rule when I travel, regardless of where I'm going, I force myself to stay awake, which is challenging because outside of when I flew here, I don't sleep on planes. Going to Singapore, Bali, I don't care, 18-hour flight, New Zealand, 28 hours, I will not sleep. I don't know what it is, I can't fall asleep. I take sleep aids, doesn't do anything. With the exception when I flew first class, because I was knocked the hell out. At least that lay flat bed. But what I do is I force myself to stay awake until it's nighttime in the place that I am going to. That means I'll probably be a little punch drunk for the day. But that's the quickest way to help me sync up with the time zone that I'm in. But my first week, I admittedly was like in and out of consciousness. I think it was a combination of the weight of the move and yeah, I would say the weight of the move and then escaping the trauma that is the US and that and other things that were playing in the background. It was just my body's way of just allowing me to relax. So the jet lag itself kind of went away as it normally does, but I definitely was in and out of consciousness. Hey, how you doing? Garden Living with Cicely. How are you? Hey. No, I don't have any mold because I have a brand new flat. Um, I'm going back to the timeline before I go back to the questions. So we talked about the housekeeper, we talked about bed, talked about the tat. So that brings us all to last week. What I'm getting used to, I just jotted a couple things. getting on public transportation. So each day I challenge myself to do something different. Last week, well, literally like each day. So I've been taking the bus. So today I took the bus all the way to Praça do Comercial because I had to get my eyebrows done. And I hadn't ridden it that far. So that was great. And then as I've been riding further, I'm finding like different things that I want to do. Getting used to hanging clothes on the drying rack because I don't have a dryer. I have a washing machine, but I don't have a dryer. And I thought that was, excuse me, going to be a challenge. But with this sun, I wash my clothes and I wash them in the morning and I hang them. And by midday, my clothes are dry. It doesn't even matter. Sheets, towels, whatever. Wash them, put them on the balcony, they're dry. I returned an item to the store, actually 2 items now. I've returned items to the store, and then I use Google Translate, which is amazing, right? That'll help you. But then I've had my challenges. First 2, 3 days when I was here, I went to the store and I bought what I thought was laundry detergent, and I was washing my clothes with fabric softener. Uh, let's see what else. I've purchased things that, this mouthwash that I returned. Tasted like poison. Um, and there was something else. Yeah, the big laugh for me was the clothes, washing the clothes. Um, and I just laugh when those things happen, right? Like, what are you gonna do? I bought this bacon and didn't and I bought cheese and didn't realize that they were like blocks. And at that point, I didn't even have a knife to cut it. I ordered from the butcher last week. This was funny. So the Portuguese word for turkey, like I want ground turkey, the word for a turkey is peru. I was like, okay. I was like, but if I ask for peru, he's going to give me not like sandwich meat. He's going to give me the raw turkey. So I was like, well, I want ground turkey. So I looked up the word for ground, and then I saw what I thought was beef. So I was like, Peru, and I think the word was morido. Morido. I think that was the word. And then the guy looked at me, the butcher was like, mm. And then I said it again, and he was like, mm. And I was like, okay. So I pointed to the stuff, but then he thought I think it was veal. He was like, that. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want Peru. And I was like, wow. And that's how he figured it out. So when in doubt, do a little mime kind of hand gesture thingy, and you'll be good to go. But you have to be able to laugh at yourself. I laugh at myself every day. I literally get lost every day. Although I'm not getting lost as much now with my new iPhone, because that my old one I had the 10. I was getting lost, but which is fine. But after a while, it was getting frustrating, and so now I'm not getting lost as much. But every day, um, I'm learning something new. I'm challenging myself to do like the scary thing. I was like, okay, last week was okay, Krishan, you're gonna go and order from the butcher, right? Not from the grocery store, from the butcher, like the realtor. But it's great getting organic, uh, food. I've never eaten so much fruit in all of my life. I come back from the grocery store. I've yet to spend 100 at the grocery store in one shopping trip. Even when I was buying like housewares and other things, because the store Continent is the equivalent of a Target. And I had 2 big bags of groceries, plus a big thing of distilled water from my steamer, plus a big thing of drinking water. And I think that day I paid 70. And I had plates and all kinds of stuff in my bag. I was like, oh my gosh. Um, So yeah, learning new words. I meet people every day because of the dog. So, they're like, oh, menino or menina, she a boy or a girl, asking me how old she is. Um, what I've learned is, older people, pregnant people definitely get preference. Older people can skip lines. So it's about Google Translate. So on my 30th day, um, my Kevin, who's been on the channel, he's visiting, so we were hanging out. But I had to get my Navigant card, so you can get a unlimited bus. Well, I shouldn't say bus. It covers 4 methods of transportation, unlimited for 30 days. So last month I didn't get it because I knew I was going back to the States. So I went Monday, and it was, or Tuesday, I think it was Monday. No, it was Monday. So it wasn't the fourth, third. It was the second, I think. No, maybe it was the third. I don't even know what day it is anymore, y'all. But anyway, so I went and I got there at 8 because they said it opened at 8. And when I got off the train, the line was already halfway down the block. I'm like, what? So then I was like, oh, but it's moving. Because I was messaging our group members, because some people hadn't gotten theirs yet. And I was like, oh, this location is moving pretty well. Got to the front, and that was just to get the number, because a lot of places you go, you have to take a number. 4 hours later, y'all, but I finally got it. And I was like, ooh, I've learned a higher degree, a higher level of patience. Because I was like, why does it take 4 hours? Like, I didn't go into why does it take 4 hours? Or why don't they have an app for this? Or all of that. It was just, it was what it was. So I met some people, we talked, met this young girl who was a student, an older gentleman, another woman. We were just helping each other. Oh, what number are they calling? One person would get up. Kevin came to hang out for like an hour and some change. And then I asked the gentleman, I said, oh, because they say you're supposed to have a picture. They actually put your picture on this thing. And I said, oh, I thought I could take my picture there. And I asked the gentleman, he said yes. And even when I got in finally 4 hours later, I double confirmed it because I'm like, okay, they're moving kind of slow. If I have to like dart around the corner, I got time. And then when I get to the guy, he's like, where's your picture? And I'm like, oh, please don't send me back. That's what I was thinking. And he thankfully let me use a picture that was in my phone. So thank God for the selfie, because otherwise, I would have been sent back with a lip hanging and just sad, sad. Tunisia, I'm using Vodafone. That is the plan that I use. Yes, I am learning Portuguese every day. I mostly use what I've learned in Portuguese with Carla, and then like I'm learning other words that I hear, or like Carla teaches context clues. So I have a pretty decent vocabulary. I can understand more than I have the words to reply. So what I have to be more cognizant of is like when people say, oh, obrigada, I say obrigada back. And it's like, I should just be saying nada. So today I finally said it because I was like, okay, you gotta get better at the replies than, or when Khaleesi and I were talking earlier, and she asked me how I was doing, and I said, buying Você. And she was like, Você? And then I was like, oh, that's right, because I know her. It should be Itu, not Você. Você is what you use if you don't know a person, but most of the people I interact with here, I don't know. So when they say that, I'm always saying, oh, Você. And then I realized, like, oh, that's right. It's a different context. Which is funny because when they delivered the bed, I had learned the word for gray the day before when I was going to get my chair. You probably can't see it's gray and black. And I was in the store and they had a a black and blue chair. And I said, oh, does it come in another color? He said gray. But he had showed me the word. And then when they came to deliver I think it was, no, it was the sofa. Um, my building is gray. And when the guy called and he was asking me, and I was like, ooh. And I just had I put it repeated, and he repeated it. And then I was like, what is he asking me? And then I was like, oh, okay, I know what he's asking me about. What color is the building? So I answered, and then he said, is it near the store, the supermarket? And I said, yeah. I said, see, in Baishade. And then I was like, and he said, oh, okay. And I'm like, so I'm replaying the conversation in my head later, and I realized I said the wrong word because Baisha is underneath. It's not underneath the store. I don't live underneath the store. I live behind the store, which would have been atraste, which I knew the word, but it left me in that moment. So, like I said, you just have to be humble, be open and willing to laugh at yourself and learn. Because I honestly believe that putting myself in this environment, learning Portuguese, having this cultural immersion, I feel, again, my own anecdotal opinion of one is, we talk about diseases of the mind. And I feel like me now constantly introducing new stimuli helps keep my mind sharper. And it's moving, has done wonders for my nervous system. My nervous system has said thank you because my level of anxiety is down like to zero. Like I said, I sleep. I walk a ridiculous amount. It's like 15,000 steps on average a day. Whereas when I was in the States, unless I was actually, doing like a hour walk, even those days, at best, I was getting like 5,000 steps. Um, so it's done wonders. Gail, you could fall asleep. I cannot. I cannot. I don't know what it is. I cannot. Even when I was flying back, well, it was a quick flight. I flew back the other day I had a layover in Paris. Um, couldn't do it. Yeah, it's funny. These first 30 days feel like it's been months. I can't even believe it's been day 31. And, and this live, I was thinking about having it yesterday, but I've been out in these streets. So the past day and a half, I've been in the house because I was out in these streets to like one couple nights in a row, and my body was just like, girl, you might need to sleep. You might need to stay in. But it's a beautiful country. I'm out. I feel safe. I don't have to worry about uh, gun violence, at the top worry. And, I don't worry about affordability. Um, Certainly don't worry about police. Um, and yeah, it's been great. What comfortable shoes. Let me tell you about these shoes. I bought a pair of Hoka shoes before I left when I was in Florida, and I opened the box once I got here. I think I was here a couple days before I put them on because I had my Brooks shoes, which y'all know my daughter is an equestrian, and they were beat up by them horses, and so I was already going to chuck them. So I did forget part of the story, but I'll get back to that. And so I took them, and they are so comfortable. It's amazing. And then I have these sandals that I bought from Nordstrom Rack, I think, or DSW. I think it was Nordstrom Rack. I don't know. But anyway, they are really, really comfortable. So I pretty much wear those, but mostly the Hokas. The Hokas are the MVP. Um, but where I live is pretty flat. Unless I'm in the city, like I have been the past couple days. Rooftop bars, the kiosks, which are great. It's like kiosks in the neighborhood. If you follow my stories, you've probably seen some of the ones that are by my house. Um, and I have my travel insurance. I have not picked my health insurance. That is on my list of things to do. But we will have Michael from Serenity Care to talk about health insurance at the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, which is probably a good time to segue because I realize now I'm at an hour and a half, which is almost midnight for me. So let's talk about the summit. And we have, again, shout out to our amazing sponsors, Sandra Gomez Pinto and Associates. We have Lighthouse Consulting and Serenity Care. We will have Border. So some of you who have gotten your NIF or opened a bank account or are considering or wondering how to do that, you hear about Border. Border will be a speaker at the summit. Start Abroad, who helped me with my visa process. They will be doing a talk on pet relocation. Bam, bam, bam. You will have me, you will have Rick, you will have Alexi, and Rick is leading a men's talk. So for the men's, y'all gonna have your time. They have a panel, do some Q&A. We will have Portugal the Place, as I mentioned, talking about housing. Another one from Our Black Utopia that you are familiar with, Rossini, he will be joining us. We will have tax professionals, both from Portugal as well as the US, to answer those tax questions. We'll have a Black expat panel with people who live in the Silver Coast, Algarve, Lisbon, of course. Porto, I think we have that covered as well. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of people. It's a lot of speakers. I think it's like 20. So we are covering like a lot, but not to do overwhelm. Oh, that's right. So we're also having a discussion about people who want to move with children. So we're going to talk about schools, the school options. Of course, I mentioned healthcare. We will be talking, we will have members of the LGBTQ community talk about their experiences. We really wanted to make sure that we were as representative as as we possibly could be. Hey, Dr. Linda. Hey, in the house. Hey, in my travels. Says swim pool facility. Possibly. I don't swim. I need to take lessons. Actually, my goal this week was to sign up for the gym, but because I've been in these streets and I need to sleep and also finish my talk for Exodus Summit, I pushed that to next week. I'm getting my steps in every day, but I had to push that. Let's see. Oh, I know. I started talking about the shoe, and then I was like, let me circle back. So I think it was day 4. I was walking Bailey, who loves being out in these streets. When she was in the States, she would just, well, Bailey has lost weight since she's been here, which she needed to, because she was just getting bloop, bloop, bloop. And the first day that I was here and I went to get food for her from the store, the guy spent half an hour, it was amazing, talking to me about the different foods and wanting her to switch off of the US brands because they had a lot of unhealthy things in there for her. So we switched her to this other food, not the one that he recommended, but like a step. And she eats that and loves it. She finishes her food, but she never used to finish in the States. And it was great. And so she loves being outside. So we were walking, one day. I think it was maybe like my fourth day, and I had put on a pair of sneakers. I bought two pairs of sneakers before I left. One just for like regular walking, like neighborhood walking, but like real walking is the hocus. So anyway, I put the other pair on, went outside to walk her, and then I was like, we were coming back, and I was like, what is this? Like I stepped in something, and then when I went to lift my foot to see what it was, whatever was on it got on my leg. And I was like, what is that? And I lifted my leg, and I was like, my shoe was brown, and my leg was already brown, but it was, it was like, and I'm like, please don't tell me that they this was this. Please don't tell me that dog shit on my leg. Bad enough on my shoe, but on my skin, I was like, "Ugh," right? Because as much as I love being here, they're not as diligent about picking up after their animals. So, of course, get in the house, had to clean the shoes, had to clean me, right? I'm showering for my dear life. But yeah, that was one of the early tests that I had to deal with. But but yeah, I had to share that story. Hey, H and D, thank you. Have y'all seen H and D on the channel or heard, because they were the bonus episode that I always promise that I drop on the podcast. So I dropped the bonus episode 2 weeks ago. And it is H and D. Yes. Um, yeah. Definitely consult with a tax professional or attend the summit or do both. Yes. But I mean, look, we've got to pay taxes, but yes, no need to pay twice. Definitely get that checked. I think I answered all the questions. I'm just looking. And I got all the way to present day because I talked about my Navigon card. And oh yeah, I'm just looking at my list to make sure I didn't forget anything. Great wine, been drinking great wine. It's amazing to be in a country with such amazing wine, Michelin star restaurants, affordable food. I get a bottle of wine for this one that I've been drinking that I really like is €3 for a whole bottle. And it's good. Yes, it's my first time living abroad. Yes. The longest I've been in the country, well, prior to now, because even when I was thinking about it a few weeks ago, I was like, well, I was in New Zealand for like almost 3 weeks, the first trip. And so once I crossed that, it's like, yeah, it is a major nuisance. So when you're in Portugal, look down when you're walking in the grass, on the sidewalk, just look where you're walking. Um, it is clean in the city square, but when you're in neighborhoods where people live and kids and animals, right? Like there's just how people, people do people things. All right, y'all. I think I covered everything. We are at 1 hour and 28 minutes. So I was trying to keep it to an hour. I went an hour and a half. I am going to make it my best effort to decide on a day. So it's either going to be Wednesday or Thursday, but y'all will see me weekly. So now that I have more freedom of time, which is one of the topics for Exodus Summit. So if you haven't got your ticket for Exodus Summit, location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, those are the themes for this year's summit. Get your ticket. We are going to have so much fun. Y'all will hear my talk, talking about scouting trips And definitely get your ticket to the Move to Portugal virtual event, which is taking place from the 3rd through the 5th. Let's see. Oh, forgot to mention, for those of you who are looking to move to Portugal but want to scout, uh, we as in me, we are partnering with the Lit House. And so we are hosting a house in Portugal in August of next year in Lisbon. So there are 7 bedrooms. You will have a private bedroom. You'll have high-speed internet. You'll have a place to work or relax or what have you. You'll have some cultural activities, some fun things as well, and you will have me as your host. So if you are interested in that, send me a message and I'll get you the deets on that. If you already follow me on Instagram, you've seen the post. We have our dinner next Saturday, which I'm so excited to have our freedom party and have the community welcome our amazing group of members who have been in Blaxit Passport. Most of them are a year. I know Karen, who's on here, is an OG. She was like day one when before I closed the Facebook group. She came in there and she's been riding strong and can attest to the group. So hopefully I'll see some of y'all in Blaxit Global Passport. Looking forward to recording season 6 in a few weeks. And yes, Greta, the food tastes better. I made salmon tonight. I made salmon since I've been here, but this time I got the pre-packed, the butcher, I think they only had like 2 pieces and I wasn't thrilled with the 2 pieces that they had left. Because I went at like 6 o'clock. And I said, oh, I saw in the refrigerated section, they had one and I grabbed it. It was so good tonight. Oh my goodness. And my mashed potatoes. So I think I've covered everything. I am looking forward to seeing y'all. I know some of you have scouting trips this year. So I will be seeing a few people who have already contacted me. I know Web Summit is also happening in mid-November. I will be there as well for those of you who are attending Web Summit. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And I will be live again, not on a Thursday or a Wednesday, but we will have Dr. Londi. I do want to make mention of this before I end. Dr. Londi, who you may have seen, especially if you're in Passport. She was in an article recently. She is in Japan, and Dr. Londi will be joining us, and we will be talking about psychological safety and moving abroad. So that is taking place in a couple of weeks. So definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Do me a favor and like this video, please, so that we can help our channel grow. And I'll see y'all soon. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night.